Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing our December and January wrap up. I told you guys every 2 months we're gonna combine those months together and give you just a big wrap up, because you know sometimes I got really shitty months and other times I got really good months, and I want to say the last 2 months have been really good. So we're gonna start with December, which I know that was so 2024, but here we are anyways. So I'm gonna give you how many books I read and things like that. I read 12 books in December. I had 2 arcs that I read, and I read 4,366 pages. Busy. I know. I ended up getting sent from Miss Jan and Valentine PR the special edition of Cade. I'm just a fan of her in general, but this whole series just tugs on my heart so hard. I feel like I have grown with the characters. I have seen them in every spot in their life throughout the series that there are no words to describe the way that this whole series has made me feel. So obviously this was a 5 stars for sure. Next physical copy that I have on hand that I read in December was Phantasma. I read this near the end of the month, and the hype for this was so real. I loved the game that it gave. It gave me, like, the mind games was just reminding me of Caraval when I first read Caraval, and I feel like I need to go back and read that because I feel like I didn't enjoy it as much as I probably think that I would enjoy it now, if that makes any sense. But I devoured this book. I loved it. I only wish that we got more of the romance after they got out instead of whatever we did get. So I wonder if we're gonna see that in the next book, which is I believe her sister's book, if I'm not mistaken. This was a good 4.5 for me because I devoured it. Next, of course, book of the month, I read The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. I remember in my vlog I described this book as to one of my favorite authors, which was Christina and Lauren, Abby Jimenez as well. It's a combination of them two. That's literally how I felt reading this book. It's obviously like a mystery, but we're following 2 authors who write mystery thrillers, and now they're in their own mystery and they're trying to figure out who could possibly be the one responsible for their favorite author going missing. It's a quick read and I loved every second of reading it. Gave this one a good solid 4 stars. Then I read at the beginning, this is my first book in December that I read, was Immortal Dark by Tejas Grima. 5 stars. That's all I have to say. 5 freaking stars. I cannot wait for the next book. In this world, it's such a unique world. We're following vampires and humans and how they work alongside each other, but in this world we are following all colored people. All the vampires, everyone in that world are colored, and I absolutely love that. This is definitely an enemies to lovers, which you kind of see their interests, but we don't really get to see them kind of explore their interests with one another more. We just know that they're both interested in one another, but how it ended and what I'm expecting for the next book, I cannot wait for this. Then also that month I read Unholy Terror and Vile Bastard by Sam Stunch, and I gave Unholy Terror 4.5 and the next one, Vile Bastard, 5 stars. Absolutely love her reverse harems. I think you guys hear me speak about her enough on my channel to know that I love basically every book that she writes. These are not, okay, what I want you guys to understand, these are not short books. Like, I think I have one of her other reverse harem books here. Like, these are like, and they only get thicker. This is only book 1 and 2 of this series. They only get thicker. So I'm only showing you that to show you how big these books are and how detailed and how invested we get in the plot and the characters. Like, she writes amazing books. How she keeps coming up with different ideas and different plots is beyond me, because I could never, but I absolutely love it, and I love that series, and I cannot wait for the last book in that series to come out. Then I read The Princess Trial by Cordelia K. Castile, and I ended up giving that one 3 stars. I believe it's YA, but it was giving me like Bachelor vibes. You guys, it gets compared to this book all the time. I can't think about what it's called though off the top of my head because I'm having brain farts recently. It's a group of girls from different, could you call them like cities, I guess, in their world. It's definitely fantasy, and they pick from different regions in their world. They basically pick from the poor regions, the rich, the middle class. Never has a poor person won, and she is basically infiltrating because she is working with the rebels. She has a task that she needs to do, but in order to do so she has to get close to him, and they kind of just actually start feeling something for each other, kind of like pushes him away, pulls him back in, pushes him away, and how it ended, it was very interesting, which I kind of do want to pick up the next one, but I just don't know when I would have the time to pick up the next one for it. Next, I read Heart of Thorns by S. Masri and S.J. Silva. I gave that one 4.5 stars. I loved it. It was a hockey football romance. She played hockey. He was a football player. He was rich. She came from like a middle class, and he's not the typical snobby rich kid, I want to say. I think that he really surprised me. He has anxiety attacks dealing with his parents, which I feel like we don't really see in books, and I really like seeing that because I can really relate to that. Being anxious and not wanting to be around them, but doing everything they want to please them so that you don't get on their bad side. So that's kind of what we see in this one. We're also trying to figure out what happened to her, or who attempted to kill her, basically. Yeah, it was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. Then I read Lights Out by, well, I finished Lights Out this month. I didn't start it this month. I finished it this month. And I gave that one 2 stars. Not a fan. I think if you go back in one of my vlogs, probably one of my last ones, I explained why I'm not a fan of it, and that's just that. I read Blood of My Monster by Rena Kent. I gave that one 4 stars, and then really enjoyed that whole series. I think it was fast-paced and very to the point, which I really liked. I mean, I can't complain. I love a good mafia romance. Then I read Silent Light by M.L. Phillip, which I gave 3 stars. And it was just a quick little novella. It gave me like Grinch Who Stole Christmas vibes. And I thought it was perfect to read in December, so I read it. Then I read Night Shift by Lucia Ashta, which is 3 stars. And it was just one of those books where it's like, it has a million books in that series, but the books are like super short, if that makes sense. Like probably between like the highest it could probably go is probably 300 pages, if that. And I enjoyed it. It was kind of giving me like What Patsy vibes, and I don't know why I'm a sucker for books like that. And I know there's a ton of you guys out there who don't like to admit it, but I know you guys are suckers for it as well, like me. Those are all the books I read in December. So now going into January, I feel like I read a lot of big books this month, and we started off the month with a very big book. I read Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I understand the hype. I gave it 4.5 stars. I felt like just so much happened at the end. Not that I couldn't grasp it, because I did grasp it, but there was just so much going on that I feel like I didn't get to enjoy the surprise of it all as much as I wanted to. So that's why I went with a 4.5 stars. But this is amazing. Give me a Kingfisher. I want a Kingfisher. Please give him to me. It was a great, I'm not even gonna lie, it was a great reading month this month. Loved it. Then I read The Words by A. Jade. Guys, why did I wait so long to read this? This was a 4.75 stars for me, and I think all month I have thought about these characters. I have thought about them. The way that I was not expecting this to be as emotional as it was, definitely going blind. I went in super blind. All I knew was that it was a rock star romance, and when I tell you guys I went through every emotion reading this, honestly I might even change this to a 5-star because I loved it that freaking much that obviously I'm still thinking about it. That's saying something. These are the physical copies that I have. Then I read Half-Blood near the end of the month, and I ended up giving this one 3 stars. Jennifer L. Armentrout can never go wrong in my books. She just sucks you into her plots and makes you love the world that she's bringing you into. Then the characters, this is a YA, so there's no smut or anything like that, and I'm okay with that. And this one did not. I actually have the second book that I want to pick up this month because I do plan on finishing the series. Obviously, look at the cover. It is beautiful. I love it. Can't wait to finish it. Basically, she's in a world where her mother ended up, now I don't want to say escape, but she ended up taking her out of this world where it's just like an urban fantasy, I want to say, and they fight demons, and she is a half-blood, so her mother is a pure-blood, which is dealing with the gods and different things like that. Her father was human, her mother was a pure, is now considered a half-blood. Half-bloods are known to just fight and train to fight and take out the demons. The pure-bloods kind of just sit back and, you know, are in their mansions doing as they please. Some of them do, some purebloods do go to the academy, to the Covenant, that's what they're called, to train to become guards and senates and things like that. And she was training to want to become a senate. She was a really good fighter in it. Her mom ended up taking her away because her mom went to a prophet, and the prophet told her what was basically going to happen. She ended up taking her and leaving, and she just never really explained why she was leaving, just that they needed to go and it was the safest bet for her. In this one, we figured that out near the end, why her mother ran, but you see her have to do some hard things as well and throughout this book, and I really liked it. I love the main male character. Can't wait to see him develop throughout the series as well with her. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. And then guys, I did a reread of North Wing, which I feel like I don't need to say much. These are all still 5 stars for me. Iron Flame as well. And then of course we went and got both Onyx Storm. We got the Amazon version, which I just got at Walmart, and then we got the Target version, which I don't really know if you guys can see a difference in the... Oh yeah, you can definitely see it when they're side by side like that, the difference in them. So I feel like the really only difference is the map is like has this bluish purplish hue to it. And then there are some pictures in this one. This is the one that's been circulating around a lot. So there are some pictures in it. Oh, I just got another one. Here's one. Another one as well. So little things like that in it. That's really the only 2 differences between the books. This one has pictures, this one doesn't. But I love that I have them both. I gave this one 4 point. It was not my favorite. I feel like there was just a lot of world building in this one, which usually in fantasy books usually get that in like the first book, and I see why we were getting it now, but there was just so much information overload that it was overwhelming. And it's not that I couldn't grasp everything, it was just that after it was done, like I just couldn't remember much of anything but the last maybe 10% in chapter 10 and like little things that happen on the island. So I definitely will be rereading this book eventually, annotating the crap out of it. And you know what, I was looking at other people's like what they were saying about it after I already read it, and I feel like a lot of people felt the same way that I felt. And maybe it's because I went in with the expectations that of thinking of like other people's theories on what was going to happen in this book, and then seeing that like only one of my things happened in this book, or one thing that I guess happened in this book actually happened throughout the theories that me and my friend Kier were thinking. That it was kind of not disheartening or disappointing, but I was just like, dang, I need to not listen to all these theories going into the next book. But I do think this was a perfect book to set up book 4 and book 5 then too. With that being said, let's go on to the next one. I read another book, Between Never and Forever by Britt Benson. I gave that one 4 stars. This is another rock star romance, but it's reversed. She's the rock star and he is just, you know, it's a small town romance. Definitely child abuse, religious, it's like not a religious abuse, but like I don't know how to explain it, like I don't know the exact term for it, but yeah, there was just a lot of abuse that went on in this book and just heartache, and I never thought I was going to see them come back together, and then you finally do see them come back together, and it was just amazing, and I loved it, and I really enjoyed that one. And then I read Lies of My Monster and Heart of My Monster, and like I said when I talked about the first book, I absolutely devoured the series. I loved it. It was very fast-paced, very engaging, you just wanted to know what was going to happen and how it was going to happen. Then we had Fallen Shadow by Casey Keene. Gave this one 3.75. Thought this was the perfect book to set up for the rest of the series. So I'm excited to go back into this fantasy series and see where it's going to go and what she actually is, because I don't think we actually seen what she is, but she does get a familiar in this one as well, which is a very rare thing to see happen. So seeing all this come together, and there's these trials that they have to go through, I'm eating it up. I love any books that have any type of trials or anything like that, so I thought that one was really good. I usually really do love Casey Keene's books, so I can't wait to see how the rest of that series ends up playing out. Then I read The Moon and His Ties by Gianna Darling. That was an arc that I got this month, and she actually personally reached out to me, and I definitely did sign up for that arc, and I definitely did enjoy it. And when I say that was spicy, it's an MMF. And I will say that I did really like both guys in this series, Sebastian and Adam. Absolutely hated Savannah, and I hope that in the next book, like, she redeems herself for everything that happened throughout this book. That being said, a solid 4 stars for that. Holy shit, the spice in this one. If you don't like spice, I don't recommend this to you, because whew, it was getting hot. So Right by Abby Millsap, I gave this one 4 stars as well, and Holy Spice as well. This is a reverse harem, which 3 of the guys are involved with each other and with her, and then we have one guy who's just literally just into her, and I loved it. I loved that we got to see Levi and Hunter in this book stand up to her, to their mothers, I guess you can say. I don't really say much because it is the 4th book and the last book in the series, but you see what throughout the series, her struggling with her anxiety, a narcissistic mother, things like that. And this one, it kind of comes full circle, and you see so much growth with every single character in this book, which I loved it. We also get to see Joey and her guys from, what is it, Lake Chapel, Boys of Lake Chapel, which love that series. That's where we got to meet Hunter and Gradian, so absolutely loved it. But I'm so sad that it's over, but also so happy that it came full circle. I hope we get novellas of both reverse harems, Joey and Hunter's, because I love them so much. And just the ending, seeing them all together. I wish we kind of got a little bit more of seeing her go through pregnancy, just because we knew how difficult or how challenging that might have been for her, and her worrying and things like that. I thought that would have been really interesting to see, even though we didn't get to see that. I thought that would have been pretty cool to see, so that's why I went with a 4 star. Then I read Silver Fox by Stevie Sparks, and I gave that one 3 stars. That was just a little short novella for Valentine's Day. And Holy Spice as well, it ends up being a one-night stand, ends up being her boss. She ends up walking in on her sister having sex with her boyfriend. It was just very, just everything, and I'm just I'm eating it up. I was eating it up. But I don't think I told you guys how many books or pages I read in January, so we're gonna do that now. In January, I read 13 books, 5,802 pages, and I had 2 arcs to read this month, and it was such a good month to just read in general. I read so many good books, and I'm so thankful that I have the time to read all these books. And I know to some people this might not be a lot of books to read, but to me this is a lot of books to read. I think even if you get to read 1 to 2 books a month, just reading in general and having that time to read is such an amazing experience. And I think before I even had kids, I think I took advantage of that, and now that I have kids and I can still do what I love to do, is read and make videos and talk to you guys about it, it just makes me happy, and I'm just happy to be here. I'm trying to get my editing down, guys. I have been stuck. I'm like 5 or 6 videos behind on editing. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate you all, and make sure to like and subscribe down below. Bye.